boy Matt here, coming to you again from Bunny Island, and this is my statement regarding industrial relations and what occurred at Get Scared Kids. Industrial relations is the relationships between employees and employers. It's an area of law, it's an area of human resource management, it's an area which is studied in economic history, and it's something which I have lived through. I think my case is a case study in industrial relations history in Australia. So, characters: Fred Sashini, Amanda Mazzoni, Jasmine Slacksmith, and Sarah Samuel. There's also another manager in that thing called Stephanie Bliss, but she didn't do anything wrong. Now, what did I do? I was a behaviour therapist and junior psychologist. I was responsible for people who were potentially harmful to themselves and other people, and my job was to prevent violence from occurring. But the other side of that, there's a much more wholesome side to that. It's also just advocating and interpreting the behaviour of people with disabilities, often that is autism, and trying to convey to others why they may be behaving in a certain way and trying to have their needs met and ensuring that people are not abused. It's mainly advocacy. It's not control and domination. In this job, I worked largely with complex presentations, so people who had 2 or 3 different diagnoses, and there's a significant overlap between autism and borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder is it's a condition where someone's attachment system has been fucked up, often by abuse. The classical version of it is that people might be abused as children. Often it's the sexual abuse where the person who was their caregiver ends up doing something terrible to them, and as a result they are no longer able to they have intense emotional experiences. They often have multiple suicide attempts as a result of that. They end up latching onto people. They have what's called favorite people, and they tend to the way I'm speaking is in pathological terms, and I don't like that, but it's a result of damage to the attachment system. So they'll often perceive people as having a romantic relationship when there is no romantic relationship, or forcing those things on them. As a cohort, there's often a lot of fake allegations made by persons with borderline personality disorder. I don't remember that these are people, and it's a treatable condition. If we see it as a condition, there's something called dialectical behaviour therapy, which is very useful. But working with this population, you have to be very careful regarding your own safety and fake allegations. So I am an incredibly abused person. And on top of that, I'm one of the very few males in my profession, and I worked for a very cutthroat, mercantile, for-profit company, which was an NDIS provider. In my work, I kind of ended up losing it, following myself, having a bit of a biff with my boss over some of the pricings that we had, because I got to see the invoices and I understood how the full system worked. But one thing that I requested and I insisted on is that I record my sessions, and I wanted these recordings to be placed on and provided to a third party. So I wanted the control of the recordings myself, and I wanted to be able to put them to a third party. So I wanted to be able to get these recordings from my clients, so all the client contact time I had was accounted for, so there wouldn't be an opportunity to receive a fake allegation. And if there was, there'll be something protecting me. And I wanted that provided to I wanted that held by a lawyer, like a union or a university, where they could potentially use those recordings as just, training material, like, oh, we're studying this guy's work. There we go. This is a historical thing of what it was like at this period of time in history or something. I don't know. But the main thing is that it was about protecting my rights as an employee. The attitude of the company I was at was quite heinous regarding this thing. I was constantly being undermined by my employer. I was dealing with a lot of legal liability, and the way that they do things is that they try and pin all of the issues on the person down the bottom so that they are not liable, and the company doesn't need to pay money if something goes bad, because we're dealing with violence, we're dealing with vulnerable people. There is large opportunity for things to go very badly. So either way, I worked from home. What happened is that they did a couple of things. So I had corporate software on my personal computer, which I needed to be able to use certain editing software. I used a grammar editing software called Grammarly. Now, this system did not work with their corporate software. In fact, we were trialing a new system and it was just very dodgily built. And I had significant issues with it. Now, so because of this, I had some corporate software installed on my personal computer. This is something multiple people in the organization did. They used this software to get into my computer, read my personal journal articles, which were on a Google Keep document. So this is an online document. This is not social media. And they noticed that because I have a very complex sexuality, like it's very creative, at the same time I was bastardized at the Naval College as a kid. I come from a fundamentalist religious community. I've been held in poverty by a whole lot of different forces, so I haven't really had the opportunity to have a traditional sexuality. And some of the journal articles, my journal entries in there, they read my personal diary, and on top of that, they also spied on me when I was jerking off to pornography on my personal computer, and they were able to see this through the corporate software, which was on my computer. They then, for some reason, somehow, we've ended up in a situation where my screens and everything I do is recorded and seen. So the request that I made, which was intended to be as a mechanism to protect the rights of an employee, well, they deliberately took an interpretation of that and used it to be able to control and dominate me. So their interest is in control and domination, because they think that they own you. They owned me because I was employed there. That is not how it works. That is not how industrial relations work. And when this happens in countries like Australia, we adjust the laws or we enforce them, ideally. Now, that's the facts of that case. So from this, there has been a significant human rights violation in this situation where I have been made a slave. What I want these people, if possible, prosecuted who are responsible, or at least and it needs to be seen in the eyes of industrial relations. We also need to get this mechanism, which I've described, sort of as a standard thing for people who are like myself, men who are involved in childcare or in teaching or in psychology and healthcare, because we are exposed to large amounts of risk for fake allegations. There is the note that you'll notice afterwards, because this is in a historical context, what I'm saying. I did use this as an opportunity for drag. I lost my livelihood, I lost my home, I lost my family, I lost everything as a result of the behavior of this corporation. And as a result of this, I have been I went all over the place, and I did have this very complex relationship with a girl called Ms. Pink and a girl called Ms. Purple. Now that was something which occurred after the fact and was a result of the abuse. So it's all been a heinous experience. This is the historical facts for the case. This is going to be a case which hopefully leads to changes in industrial relations or the enforcement of existing industrial relations laws. There was a cybercrime in that my personal information was hacked from my computer. Whether that was done maliciously or by accident is besides the point. because I haven't been able to know the full scale of what's going on, I haven't been able to get the facts of my case and make a case to a lawyer, because that was intentionally taken away from me, because the objective of these people is to keep me in a vulnerable situation so they can control me. And because they've got something which they can point to, they can make it a child safety issue, they're able to act as if they are doing it in the name of child safety. They have not done this in the name of child safety. They've abused someone that they didn't like because they were causing them problems. That's the facts of this case. I hope everyone has a lovely day. The people I hope that there's been a case of fact finding from this that proceeds. I'll double back a little bit. No, I won't double back. Look, there's going to be a list of email communications and stuff. I'm not sure, like, they tended to adjust emails after the fact there. They did that. There's all kinds of things you can do with corporate software, but I'm hoping that maybe my communications are still on the servers, and those could be used to investigate the problem. Hopefully there's some means that they have of being able to determine if it's been adjusted or not. Who knows? Have a lovely day, everyone.